everyone. Oh, recording. Okay. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate your existence here in the space. My name is Beck. I like the same as the German composer, but mainly I'm the second year bachelor program. I just came to the state 2 years ago from Vietnam, which is like half of the globe from here. So really excited to meet all you.
My name's Anthony. I'm in the bachelor's program first year, and I'm originally across the coast from Pennsylvania.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I am a master's first year student. And I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia on the West Coast. And I moved to New York City when I was 10, and then I went to undergrad there. So, and I'm here in Ukiah. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you everyone for joining, for wanting to spend some time with us. So as you know, this event is for asking some questions to our students so they can let us know what is their experience as being students in the DRBU. So are you guys ready? Let's start with the first question. And the first question is, why did you choose to attend the DRBU? Really, like, what drew you to the DRBU?
Want to go first, Anthony?
Oh, are we on? Oh, we are on. Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll go. He's controlling the button, so I don't know. Yeah, so I think it's kind of hard to like pinpoint one thing. Like there are tons of, I think, conditions and just, things in my life that I was aspiring to do that really drew me to the program. And sometimes answering this question, I'm not really sure if I picked DRBU or DRBU picked me. So, but, I've been studying Buddhism from a pretty young age. And where I was living, there wasn't really a ton of access or community to actually, continue my practice or deepen my practice or to continue studying. So essentially, this was kind of a way for me to join a Buddhist community and, really learn and study with other people. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of the main driving force for me. Would you like to go back?
I actually didn't know about that. I didn't knew more like nearly a year and didn't know about your origin. But speaking about interacting with Buddhism since a young age, I actually also have a lucky affinity with Buddhism since my mom is a really devoted Buddhist practitioner. And I was so lucky to have a chance to come here in Ukiah to the community of the city of Tentesun Buddha to join the summer camp of the boys' school back like in 2015. And when I came back from there, I thought like, oh my God, I have to come back here. I have to come back here. Maybe because it's the fun when I play soccer, but well, there's some deep feeling within me that is being drawn to this tranquil, the stillness of the environment. And flashback, boom, 7 years later, me applying for the DRBU. So it'll be like, it's like there's a room, there's a square you can imagine, and then my dad was sitting in a corner of the room. I was sit in the other corner listening to Master Hua biography history. I was listening to it like so many times that I actually fell asleep. And I'm not encouraging doing this. It's definitely not a good thing. Please don't be lazy and lax like me. But during that process, there's a intrinsic thought arose saying like, I want to nurture myself as a person, as a person with a foundations and with a sense of morality and ethics. And that's why I decided to go to the DRBU, because I believe that this is the place where I can develop a healthy, wholesome root. And whatever I build on that later on will also create, healthy and wholesome result as well. So yeah, I guess the wholesome foundation of morality before I throw any toppings on it.
Thank you.
So we're just popcorning it. Okay, let me just make sure I have the question correct. How we came to DRBU?
Yeah, so the question is, why did you choose to attend DRBU, or what drew you to DRBU?
Okay. I came, I actually, I was kind of getting into Buddhism, just on my own, trying to, well, I was on a personal journey, and then I started looking into it. I was looking into meditation, and then I found the Berkeley Monastery. So that's a branch monastery of the City of 10,000 Buddhas network. And what drew me in there was the lectures. They have a couple lectures with some of our faculty. And so I found that the sutras that I was reading in these lectures were really kind of answering a lot of questions that I had had for many years that I couldn't answer, and kind of just completely reframing my understanding of who I am and my experience. So I was going to the monastery a lot. I was very invested in it. I was studying a lot on my own. And people at the monastery started suggesting that I try the university. I wasn't really interested in an education, but I eventually got to the point where I wanted to I had a very serious motivation to be able to really, really study Dharma very seriously, and also really being able to be in a community where I felt like you could actually practice it with other people. I was pretty isolated in terms of not knowing how to really engage on a deeper level with it. I also really liked the university's code of conduct structure. You know, it has a sober environment, which I think is extraordinarily rare. I don't know if there's very many other schools out there that do that. And some other things about it, you know, just kind of like taming these sort of wilder energies that I found difficult in my last educational experience when I was in undergrad the first time. So yeah, so I kind of came with that intention, and then I was also really attracted to particularly the master's program, because they do this kind of, I don't want to say it's totally comparative, because the program doesn't just sit there and compare east and west, or you know, Buddhist and non-Buddhist, but it allows you to kind of like go deeply into the frameworks of each, and then you can use all of it and kind of understand all of it. And I really felt strongly appealed to that, because I really liked a lot of the Western philosophy I'd sort of encountered, but I hadn't had a depth of study of either. So it kind of fit both of these parts of myself that wanted some kind of education and nourishment. And so it was kind of a collection of all of those things that I came, and then I went through the bachelor's degree because I didn't have a bachelor's degree yet, which I don't regret. It's an excellent program, but then now I'm in the program that I originally hoped to be in. And so that's kind of me.
Thank you, Abby.
I think I mirror some of Anthony and Bach's answer. I think that I had come across the school by chance, actually, through a friend. And I had finished my undergrad in Chinese classical studies. And I was born into a Buddhist family, and my mom still is super Buddhist, like, and both my mom and dad are very Buddhist. And we practiced different kinds of Buddhism, but we never really had like a core community that we could fall back onto for support. And then in college, I was able to take many Buddhist classes, and I had an excellent professor who taught me about Mahayana Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism. And I guess the main principle I took away was, it's not necessarily sacrifice of the self to achieve like goodness in this lifetime, but it's just a bringing along of other people on your journey of transformation towards goodness. That was I don't know, I got that like really great idea from my studies, and I was like 18 or 19. And then I originally wanted to do politics. And I had declared my major as pre-law. And then I had done a lot of nonprofit civic organizing within the Asian American community. And we would go out to Washington, D.C., we would host rallies, and we hosted like the first Black Lives Matter rally on our campus. And it was really huge, it's really successful. But always somewhere I felt like there was a deeper question that a lot of these like debates in the public sphere that kind of glossed over, which is the fact that there's a human motivation behind everything that we do. And I studying, Chinese classics where compassion or like human-heartedness is something that should be able to be detected within our own hearts, like at every given moment, was an idea that I was super drawn to, but I didn't feel like that was in the consciousness of society. I mean, I grew up in Vancouver, so it's a pretty metropolitan area, and I went to New York City. It was like a very big, bustling place to grow up in. And so just observing all of this within my line of work, I was really, I think somewhere deep within me, like Bach said, there was a desire, a very, very deep desire to nurture these seeds of goodness that I somehow found in the books. But in order to do that, you really do need a solid community of people who are not just dedicated intellectually, but also emotionally, physically, like socially. We eat vegan food, and Abby mentioned this campus is sober. Bach mentioned that it's a super peaceful environment. There are like peacocks roaming around. And so like I felt like this place was very conducive to my growth internally and externally. I felt that I could dive deeper into Buddhist studies in a way that could transform like the core of who I am. And so I think still to this day, I do wonder like, why am I actually here? But I think I've learned so much about myself and others, and these skills are most definitely applicable like in any and every area of life, because you use the same mental faculty when you're thinking in the professional, also in the personal sphere. It's the same faculty of understanding that is applied in global affairs and politics, international politics, and also the family dinner table. So I feel that it's only halfway through my journey. So um, this deep desire for transformation and also care for the world is what kind of brought me here, and also my friend, my good karmic affinity.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your answers. Okay, so here goes the next question. Can you tell us a quintessential DRBU moment?
I really wanted to answer this question.
Please,
I can
go
go
ahead.
first. Like I
Yeah,
can like
thank
grease the
you.
wheel for the rest of us. I think a quintessential DRBU moment is Sudana Center, which is the living area for males, but it's also a space where the community comes together to dine, and students cook for the community. And occasionally we host events, and we have public events where professors and faculty and even local residents can join us. But Sudana Center is where we usually gather is like a pretty big, I mean, wait, it's not huge, but it's a very cozy dining space. And we eat food. We have Friday pizza nights, and Alfonso makes really great, like one-of-a-kind pizza I've never had anywhere. New York pizza could not compete with Alfonso's pizza. But I think just basking in the environment of just who we are is a really good way to get a snapshot of what DRBU is like. Because in one corner you'll have someone, jamming on like the piano or like playing the guitar, singing a song that they made up on the spot. And then we'll have people drinking tea in another corner on the sofas with some of the volunteers in our community. And then in other corners we'll have perhaps like, I don't know, poetry slam, or someone will be talking about like meditation and their practice, and sharing these jewels of wisdom with each other, like in a very open and just very engaged manner. And then that everyone is like super engaged in what they're doing, and it can be very, very different. All the things that we're doing, whether it be art, conversation, food, tea time, music. We'll have people doing calligraphy in another corner. It's like super eclectic, but we're all coexisting in all of our differences, no matter the sound or smell or the sights. And I think that's what is DRBU to me, because it's just a bunch of people who genuinely want to and can coexist in all of who they are in a very deep, very meaningful way, in a very present way, without feeling like judgment, without feeling like we need to fit in and talk to people in a certain way. It's just like completely being yourself and in the art of who you are, I think is like my favorite moments of DRBU, and that represents DRBU to me in a very homey way.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
So just want to add on the student center space. Beside all those things, there's also a ping pong table. So you know, if you have any of you guys interested in ping pong, I'm at my utmost pleasure to play with you guys. So just want to continue on that energy of everyone is really into what we all like concentrate, and like, you know, the term samadhi, like being in the total concentration of what we're doing. A moment of DRB that is like carved deeply in me is actually at the gym, the weight room. So this is a kind of space where I feel, a physical space where I feel aligned with my inner space. Like a space where I feel secure, a space where I feel that I can let room for the thoughts and the reflections after a long day comes up. And there was this moment where I have a really long, tired day, a really stressful day. I also have in that same day, I also have a like big argument with my sister and my parents. And I went there just to, you know, lift some weights. And by doing that, by allowing myself a lot of physical space, I created an inner space in myself where I can like really observe this thought is like arisings, just to like acknowledging what I have done, to really look back to it and take accountability of my actions. And immediately after that moment, boom, I stand up and I definitely have to finish the rap, but after finishing the reps, I stand up and then text my sister and say, I'm so sorry for speaking like this before. And then I also text my parents. Being able to like reflect and then transforming it to actions is an amazing experience. Like it's kind of like a moment of transformation where a reflection, a thoughts manifest in an actual actions. And yeah, it's my quintessential moment.
Thank you, Bag.
I guess I'll go next. So I guess for me, the quintessential moment is really takes place in the CEI, which is basically a retreat that we do every semester. And it's about like 3 or 4 days. And this, especially this recent retreat, this spring retreat, was a Guanyin session. And if you don't know who that is, you'll definitely know by the time you get here. But I think it's a really a good time to slow down and really see kind of the efforts that all the students and staff have been really putting into the program. And I think it really captures the essence of why we attend the university, in some sense, to see that there is a lot of aspiration for self-realization. And I think, you know, without those periods of time, the program itself really wouldn't be the same, or you wouldn't be really have the time to fully process what you're learning in the program, because so much stuff is going on throughout the semester. I mean, you have work study and readings and all this other stuff comes up. And sometimes it's really hard to let the things that you're taking in really sink in. And even though it's a couple days, I think it really does wonders for the mind and the body, and really actually heals, I think, the community, and allows us to kind of open up a little bit more in a way. So for me, it's a really important aspect of the program, and a really important moment that we have each semester.
So I think for myself, just thinking about this is sort of hard to choose because there's so many different aspects to your experience. And I think you can kind of see that from the way people have responded. There's a lot going on, but thinking about it just now, kind of just reflecting on this week, the last few days, actually, I spent about 2 days, several hours each day, just reading through like one sutra and commentary. And there's just hours and hours and hours of this kind of like reading and reflecting and thinking about it. And that in and of itself is just like, I remember just reflecting, like, I wish I could do this for the rest of my life. It's such a wonderful opportunity actually to do that. But then it's followed up by this morning, that's Saturday, Sunday, but then this morning we show up and we have our shared inquiry. And our faculty opens with the question, let's all go around and talk about how this sutra actually kind of felt. What was your kind of impression in your person upon reading it? How did it impact you? And I think to me that really deepens the inquiry, because it brings us all into this almost non-intellectual discussion where we're trying to identify what it is that our relationship with these texts is, and how it is that these texts call to us or move us or transform us. Then you can see how everyone in the room has a very different experience, and yet we can all kind of listen and relate and open up to possibilities through it. After the class, I had a brief conversation with someone who was observing the class. He's a Theravadan monk from the Thai forest tradition. We were reading a Mahayana Sutra, Avatamsaka, the flower of dormant. And, one thing he said about being in this program, he said, it's been good for me not to have a experience where I, as a Theravada monk, have my personal views on what Buddhism should be validated. That actually they were constantly being challenged for him. He's in the bachelor's program, so he's been here for 4 years, kind of going through that. And I said to him, it's actually the same for me as well, and for the Mahayana Buddhists in our community. We're also constantly being challenged about the distinctions of what we think Buddhism should be about, and constantly having to kind of open up that space and let go of those kind of the places where we're holding on to what it is, and actually having to deepen our learning and learn this like kind of more expansive way of relating to Dharma, and a deeper way of relating to Dharma that's actually very transformative, rather than just helping us to kind of identify ourselves with something. We're actually using it as a tool for transformation and for relationship through our discussion, and the fact that we're constantly being challenged to see things in different ways. And for me, that's really very much what the university is about, whether or not you're whichever program you're in, or whichever text you're studying, or whatever tradition you're studying. There is everything has this kind of openness and this fluidity and this transformative nature that's so wonderful to be a part of and experience. That for me, it kind of encapsulates what the academics is really about here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for your wonderful answers to these questions.